Hey customizers, welcome back to the final episode of the Dreadnok tutorial series. For all my subscribers, thank you very much. If you're just joining us for the first time, weird to start at the last video, but no judgment, and welcome to the channel. Well, here we are, we're finished. What I did while I was waiting for these stickers was finish some other projects and start a whole new one, but anyway, I re-clear coated this, and what I did is I had run out of semi-gloss clear coat, so I mixed my own, and all I did was take flat and gloss, mix them together, and voila, I got basically exactly what I was looking for. Maybe needs a little tweaking in the recipe, but basically a 50-50 mix and you're off to the races, depending on how shiny you want it to be. So what did we accomplish? Well, I mean, look at it. We have a Dreadnok swamp boat. I mean, it speaks for itself, right? In particular, we really, the main focus of this series was tackling scratch building basic parts, right? And that's what we did here. I had a Stingrator fang boat thing, whatever it's called, that was missing guns. And as you may or may not know, finding parts for any vehicle can be a pain in the butt, especially if they're hard to find. And I have a wicked story for some other time about a $40 Phantom X19 nose. But anyway, so by taking a basic and a simple approach to looking at these parts, we broke them down into their basic ideas and then recreated them with sheet styrene, right? In this case, we used styrene rod and tube with a little bit of sheet styrene for brackets and mounting parts. And here we are. Now we have a pair of matching deck guns for our swamp boat. And that was really it. I wanted to show you how easy that is. Can you get more complex than this? Of course you can. It's like anything else, right? Like basic painting versus complex painting, all that jazz. But in this case, the goal was to still keep within that Hasbro aesthetic. So, you know, maybe you might think this is oversimplified, and that's cool, right? The whole thing was to start off at kind of the basics here, and look how complex we got with just the basics. And I've introduced you to the putty as well, to fill in the end caps there so it matches the Hasbro aesthetic there, and what it means if you want to keep your gun barrels empty and then maybe drill out these ones too, right? It's all up to you. That would be a divergence from some of the Hasbro stuff because they'll use a mix too, but at the end of the day, it's really, really up to you. And that's the whole point of this, is I'm showing you some basic stuff to help you make the choices you want to make for your customs. Colors, well, this is that Vallejo Cockpit Emerald Green Faded. This is the matte sea blue down here. I actually stumbled across a store with some old stock, well, the store in this town with some old stock still. And we talked about using the Vallejo one instead because this company's paint is actually discontinued now. And it's up here as well. And then for this build of the two colors I showed you at the very beginning, the Fantasy and Games, whatever it's called, Toxic Waste Green over here, and the Scale Color Fall Green over here. I actually defaulted to the Fall Green. I used this one on one piece by accident because I blindly grabbed a bottle and just shot it in there. It's a little bit more of a vibrant green, but honestly, totally usable for your photochromic parts for your Dreadnok vehicles. They both work. Honestly, it's this one's a little more pastel, maybe faded, a little bit more on the yellow side, and this one's a little bit more exciting and on the green side. And as we talked about with the photochromic parts, depending on how that plastic's held up over the years, you know, maybe that part stopped fading at a different part of the spectrum or whatever. Either way, they both absolutely work, and I will be using the other one in future projects as well. And I wanted to show you, we were talking about variants in colors, right? Not only with the photochromic green and stuff, but when you're trying to find these paint colors, you know, if you're using my recommendations, then that's great. And if you're disagreeing and finding your own, it can be difficult, right? So I wanted to show you something to kind of help illustrate my point. And that is my Dreadnoks VTOL. This paint color kind of shows up the same on camera, I think. Maybe. But this one's actually far more blue than this one is. This has a lot more green to it. But they have the exact same name. They're made by different companies, but they're both called Cockpit Emerald Green Faded. This one I can't get anymore because, you know, politics. and so, you know, it was one of those things, okay, well, I've got this. It's the same color by name, but I opened it up and it's actually different. Is it different enough to matter? No, it shouldn't be. I can't speak to your personal tastes, but for me, it's no problem. I like them both. The hand mixed color here was some kind of weird goblin green color or something like that, and flash yellow glitz by Citadel. And this one was one color straight out of the bottle. Are they different? Yeah. Do I think they both work? Also, yes. And I'm willing to accept that. If you're not, well then, and maybe looking at this right now is driving you up the wall, and you were going to rip these parts off and repaint them to match these ones or whatever, it doesn't matter. But all I'm saying is that at the end of the day, sometimes you're going to not be able to find a paint color that you're used to working with or that you like working with for various and sundry reasons. Or if you, whatever, you still want to use the same color. Let's say your store's out of this brand's emerald green, but this brand's emerald green is in stock. Be prepared for them to be slightly different. So be conscientious of that. Does it happen to me? Yeah. I mean, if I showed you the paint racks in my hobby space right now, you might faint, but, and that's my choice. My choice is to try and find the most, what I view to be the perfect colors possible for these projects. People can disagree because it's an art form, right? It's how your eye and your brain perceive color, blah, 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 science, right? And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. But here it is, right? So we got some Dreadnok vehicles here. The collection is growing and it's fantastic. These are 3D printed, by the way. And which brings me to my next point. Why would we use this scratch building skill when we can 3D print things? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. And I'm going to get you another example just for some screen candy. Hey everybody, while Excited Me is over there getting that other piece of screen candy, I said I was going to show you what stickers I use, so let's talk about this quick before Excited Me gets back. I just bought a set of the Dreadnok Swampfire stickers and put those on. I put the red on the green up here because it matches the Hasbro aesthetic. You've got a miniature version of the VTOL sticker here, plus a Dreadnoks emblem there. And the main reason I bought this whole sticker set in the first place was for this nice red pirate cutlass. When I saw it on the Swampfire, I knew that's what I wanted. I'm a big fan of the snake on the moray, and I have some smaller snakes for other water moccasin projects, but for the Dreadnoks one, I wanted to get well, it's not a scimitar, the cutlass on there. Anyway, so that's the sticker set I chose. That's an original sticker to the original toy, and I mirrored the stickers like that on the other side, and I think that works quite well. Oh, jeez. Excited Me's coming back. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Here's my Action Force Skyhawk, and I will be showing you how to do this later. It also has 3D printed skis. The Dreadnok Skyhawk has 3D printed skis. So why scratch build? Well, there's two reasons. One, when I mentioned my other previous Skyhawk builds, this was my last set of 3D printed skis, the person I negotiated with was extremely reasonable about the price. There are people out there that think that they can charge an arm and a leg for stuff because they have some business model formula that someone came up with, teaching them how to charge the most money possible for people who don't know any better. That's what it boils down to. And what even more fundamental than that, it's your choice. If you want to pay $40 for a set of 3D printed skis, fill your boots. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just advising you that there may be better ways to spend your money. Could you scratch build these skis? Probably. In fact, I'll even go one step further and say yes, you could. Will I do it? Maybe in a future video, because I have some other Skyhawk projects and they are missing skis. But in the meantime, what you've done is you've built a set of deck cannons. This cost me a few cents of plastic rods. That's it. The packages of the rods themselves cost obviously more than a few cents. However, this probably won't be the only cannons you end up scratch building, and it's a pretty good size for doing projects of your own design as well, right? So, could you argue that 3D printing is still better? Sure. I mean, if you don't want to put in the effort to cut tubes and sheet and stuff like that, absolutely. You want to pay $40 for a set of whatevers, again, it's your wallet. But this skill is a good one to have, especially if, for example, for you to get a 3D print of something, the file has to exist. And if you are a computer designing artist or whatever, hey, well done. But if you're not, and if the file's not available, then you can't get it 3D printed, and then you have to build it. So both have a place in your toolbox, right? Everything here, everything that we talk about at Tucking Hands Customs is a tool for your toolbox, whether you choose to use it or not, whether you use my color recommendations or not. So there it is. I am super proud of making these, and I build model airplanes. I'm a casual model builder, nothing professional or crazy like that. And doing something like this, it feels good too, right? Because now I have this complete boat here, whereas if I just had painted it in Dreadnought colors without the guns and waited for the guns, it would have driven me nuts. But there you have it. So let's get rid of this here, it's distracting. So there it is. Thanks for joining me on this series. The Dreadnoks has always been a pain, and I wasted so much money in spray cans to try and match these colors. When I found out at the end of the day, the Dreadnought green color wasn't even available in Canada. So yeah, hooray for the Great White North. So these colors I've shown you, minus I've given you the substitute for the dark sea blue here, which is widely available. All of these should be available whether you're across the pond or in North America or even South America or wherever you are in the world, all things being equal. So thanks again for joining me. To all my subscribers, thank you very much. And again, if you're new to the channel, I don't know why you started on the last video, but I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to say please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next adventure. So until then, be safe and have fun.